Hi, my name is Hanya Ismail, and today I am introducing our class of 2023's unmatched peer, Sara Ottinger. If you haven't met Sara personally before, you've probably heard her, whether at the gym pep rally yelling, "You have to spin," as the entire upper school left out the most important part of the turkey trot, or her insanely accurate barks backstage for the dog Willoughby during the Mary Poppins play. I have always admired Sara's intellectual curiosity and lively enthusiasm to learn in the classroom, and her jokes in the senior den never failed to amuse me. I know Sara has some wise words to share, as she always does, so let's hear it for the Sara McLean Ottinger.
When I was in middle school, I was an emo. I was the epitome of emo. I wore the same black jeans with a Hot Topic t-shirt every single day. I accessorized with rubber bracelets, a cheap 90s tattoo choker, and a side part so far on the side of my head it might as well have been on my chin. I listened to Fall Out Boy, My Chemical Romance, Pierce the Veil, Panic at the Disco, before Ryan Ross left, all of the bands you could possibly imagine a little scene queen listening to. On top of all of this, I was mentally emo. You typically imagine emo kids whining about how broken they are, how their moms grounded them for staying up too late on MySpace, or in my case, Roblox. But I was in a very different position. My parents were getting divorced. Many people know that pain now, but at the time, few people understood what divorce was. If they did, it had been that way for as long as they could remember. My parents were, in some way, one of the first to separate while I was enrolled in middle school. My classmates didn't understand what caused divorce yet either. The complexities and nuances didn't apply to 11-year-old brains, and frankly, I don't blame them. I barely understood what was happening. All I knew is that it was happening to me. Fortunately, in the modern day, both my biological parents and my bonus parents get along pretty well, but it wasn't always like that. I really, truly wore my emotions. I wore them in the black t-shirts and oversized nerd glasses. I wore them in the off-brand Docs and the vampire-themed jewelry I had begged my parents to buy me. While fashion isn't always influenced by one's emotions, mine absolutely was. That is, if you can even consider anything I wore as fashion. To this day, I am lovingly teased by my classmates for this phase of my life. What I wish I could say, and will say now, is that I wish they had known what was happening. I wish that I wasn't such a painful stereotype that someone my own age had stopped to ask, "Hey, what's going on? What's with you wearing your Black Parade t-shirt for the third time this week?" I don't hold anything against my classmates for that. We were little, and outward appearances mattered a lot more then than they do now. At this age, nobody cares what you come into school wearing. We also have a uniform, too, so that ruins my chances of ever relapsing into that phase again. Rather than continuing to lament the care and comfort of little Ottinger, I'd like to shift the focus. I found that it's incredibly easy to sound preachy during speeches, so I'll keep my following statement simple. Despite our inherent nature to judge, I implore you to look at others with curiosity rather than judgment. When you see someone who's really, really different than you, no matter the ways that they are different, seek to understand. If you don't glean anything from curiosity and mildly awkward observance, consider reaching out. Take some time to learn something new about someone who's so different than you. And if you're the person that is being newly engaged with, expose yourself ever so slightly. Obviously, I'm not saying spill your guts to someone you just met. We should all understand the appropriate social boundaries in that regard. We've learned especially well these past few years that our time together is limited, perhaps more limited than any of us had ever expected. We've seen loss that is, as Mr. Throckmorton put it, unusual. It's unusual to not have more time with one another. It's unusual to grieve as often as we have. It's unusual to feel fear in the city that we live in, the city that we love. Because of this, why don't we make it more usual to extend a hand to people we don't know as well, to sow love, hope, and joy where there is hatred, despair, and sadness. Let us seek to understand as we seek to be understood, not because we've been asked to, but because of the good it brings into the world. There's truly no time to waste. Thank you.